energy we use could harness the solar power, the wind and the water matter. Hydro production of fruit and veg for consumption, increasing no fish zones to a third of the oceans. Sustainable living is giving back what we're taking, replacing the trees, let the seeds reawaken. It's time to give back what human hands have impacted. I believe we can make it. This is how we save the planet.
Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Show with me, Charlie, and my guest, Matthew Alvarado, which is a very, very cool name. But he's got another cool name called Poeticon. How are you? And welcome to the show.
And thank you. Thank you.
Great. How have you been coping with isolation? Because I haven't asked that in quite a while with people.
I don't really feel like I'm all that isolated, actually. I mean, I live with my wife and my 2 children, and we've been vaccinated recently, so we've been out a little bit more. But the first few months were, I don't know if it ever felt difficult, but it was just always felt different. You know, it was not a life I was accustomed to.
Well, you know, how did you keep positive in those circumstances?
And what else can you do? I was like, it was tough because it really felt like a lot of times like the world was going crazy around me, and kind of still does. But the only thing that I could focus on is what's right in front of me, which is I need to keep this household running. I need to make money for the family. I need to make sure they're happy and make sure that I can try my best to still do the things that I enjoy. And everyone seemed to find a way to do that. So I really felt that bad, I guess, is the
well, I got me. You're looking good, and you have an impressive studio. I can see.
Thank you. This is it's my creative space. It's in shambles right now. That was one of the things that we had to do with isolation.
Shambles. If that's shambles, I wish this place was shambles.
I picked the nicest corner of the place right now to show off. The rest of it's got.
Oh yeah, this is my good corner. This is my good.
Yeah, this is the good corner. So it's got this like. All right, so this is a bag of stuff that I rescued from my office, which I no longer go to anymore because of COVID, and it's full of like Marvel pens that I collected at Comic-Con, and I think there's some tea in there, maybe some chopsticks.
Tea. What kind of tea?
Let's see. Two kinds of tea maybe in here. I'll leave camera just to show you this. I'm not absolutely sure what this is, but it's in like little balls. And I got this from San Francisco, Chinatown.
I've heard of tea bags, but not tea balls.
Well,
and that sounds like something wrong there.
And this is, I think, pu'er. It's like a herbal tea that's supposed to be good for you, but just kind of tastes like dirt. So,
have you ever drunk any other teas that you would
like
drink?
Tea.
Yeah.
I like tea, but I don't like caffeine. So usually drink like chamomile.
Well, you can get decaf, like I don't know if you get Tetley or
yeah, we get Tetley over here.
You can get decaf ones.
Yeah. But the decaf doesn't mean zero caffeine. It just means less caffeine.
Yeah.
But I still like.
For me, that makes me feel better. If it says decaf, then that's good.
Well, I'll drink some tea that has like caffeine in it. I just can't drink much of it because the caffeine just kind of makes me jittery. So.
Doesn't make me jittery at all. Never. I've had about 5 cups of tea already.
I did have some coffee this morning, but it was decaf.
So you never had. So you don't like decaf anymore? You used to have decaf?
Well, it's the only for tea. If it's not like an herbal tea or something like that, it's probably like Darjeeling, or I don't know, most black teas, pretty good, but they're high in caffeine, so I won't steep it for very long.
Good on you. You're part of the team. So what's really impressive is your background. What is your prize joy out of all your collections? Because I've seen in one of your videos, you've got I saw a Pac-Man video, electronic game.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you collect a lot of electronic games and like little mini arcades?
Not that much. When I was a kid, I still have a lot of the toys that I collected when I was a kid, like these Sonic the Hedgehog arcade games. It was pretty much like a calculator. You see like this one little figure that would just jump up and down here, and
Yeah.
it was really
Oh, they're very
entertaining
addictive.
for the time.
Oh, they're very addictive games, weren't they?
Yeah, no, when you're like 12 now, and when that was the best technology around, yeah, that was awesome. Now it's like, what am I doing playing with this this little thing? I just keep it for the nostalgia.
Yeah, but I collect them, so I have to. I enjoy them. I still enjoy these old games. They're really, you know.
I like portable games. I do, but the like Sonic the Hedgehog Sega game that I've got there, I could pop a battery in there and it'll work. It's got this really loud 8-bit like soundtrack there.
Blip,
Yeah.
blip, blip. No, shut up.
And it's just like, it's hard to play now. I don't even understand what it is. Like all of a sudden you just see like a little dot and you're supposed to either jump over the dot, and I'm not in, like, you only have one button and you have a directional pad, but it doesn't really matter what the D-pad does because you're scrolling on the side anyway. So you're either going to go up or you're not going to use it at all. And
exactly.
so it's like, why do these buttons exist?
But when you were younger, you knew what to do despite it looking crazy. It's like, all right, yeah. And you just kept going. Like
and you ignored the fact that I guess you just like didn't care that the other buttons had no purpose. You're just like, whatever, I'm just going to jump. And you would just hold down the forward button like it would get you somewhere. But really, you're just waiting for that next little dot to appear so you can just press up.
The worst is those games that you can't actually turn the sound off, and you're playing at night in bed, and you're like, it's too loud. You can't.
Yeah, you try to cover yourself up with a blanket.
Exactly.
If you can, but it's still,
but you can't, because then you can't see it.
No, and I had 2 brothers and a sister, so my brother would like on a bunk bed and be pissed at me and would just like throw shit at.
Mm-hmm. So is that your prize joy then? That Sonic game?
No. I honestly, I can't say what my prize joy would be. It would probably, so I mean, this room is just full of nerdiness.
That's good.
But shit, you know, I used to say it was my Tauntaun sleeping bag, which is like a sleeping bag that was meant to look like a Tauntaun from Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I gave that to my son, so now it's in his room, and I can't really claim it as my own anymore.
Did you tell him to look after it?
He's turning 4 in July, so
you gotta start him young, okay?
Yeah. I bought him a lightsaber.
Comics in plastic, okay? And these little electronics, do not put them anywhere. You have to put them up on something.
I don't trust him with comic books yet. I won't trust him with comics because I know he'll just tear it up. Like, and you can see, like, on Free Comic Book Day, I'll get him some because, you know, they're free and they're mostly just reprints anyway, so it doesn't matter. And you just see him, like, even before you get home with the comic, it's already, he's just like waving it around like a flag and tearing pages off and crumbling them. I'm like, all the things that just make me cringe.
You're like,
so no. I don't give them those.
Were you ever like that?
I do have a fully licensed replica of the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, and made by Jens Hansen, the same jeweler from the movie, which I'm very proud of.
Where is that? Is it like in a glass?
Well, it was my wedding ring for many years, but I don't know how to size jewelry, so I didn't buy it the right size. It's a little big. And I ended up getting a different ring. So now it's in a jewelry drawer. You
should have stuck it on 2 fingers. There you go.
Yeah, and it's not that big.
Not that
big. But maybe there's some other stuff. Hold on. This was... this was the box that it came in, which was quite nice as well.
Oh, that is really nice.
Wow. And came with the silver mithril chain that he wears in the movie, but I don't wear it.
That's nice.
And I got this leaf of Lorien to go with it because.
Wow, you are a true nerd. That's good. How much was it? May I ask, or you're not allowed?
It was like
a lot. A little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the most expensive.
It was, you know, it's a fun for him. What?
It was $3,300, but you know, it's a wedding gift, so definitely had to excuse that purchase.
That's just, well, if you can do it. If that's what you really wanted, you got it. You got what you wanted.
That was the only ring that I wanted to be married with. So
yeah. I wonder if your studio is cheaper than that.
much cheaper. In fact, my studio is made out of PVC pipes and blankets, like painters blankets, and just it's not really professional grade. But I feel like when it comes to recording, at least in most cases, if you can get a decent recording, then you can fix a lot of it in post-production and EQing. But my goal was just to eliminate as much white noise as I possibly can. And so that's why it's like, basically it looks like a TARDIS, almost like a phone booth. But hold on, let's see, I can show you. It's not in great shape right now because for the last hit record project with A Better World's in Sight, I had to film myself recording it at a microphone. I also had to film myself like the actual recording, and then there was like the fake recording. So I ended up moving my microphone out of the studio, like out of the box where I recorded.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had like this white background and everything. Like the mic wasn't hooked up or anything like that. So I moved the mic out, and then I put lights inside the box so I can record myself filming in there. But one thing you'll notice is I have lights that I just move around everywhere. And so the lights that are in here used to be in there. This is my recording booth. And then just, it's my computer. Here's some lights to make sure that I don't go mad in here. There's usually some lights up in the top corner, which you can't see. And the microphone and the mic stand are in here.
Is that the smallest music studio?
Yeah, there it is.
That's really good,
But it does the trick. It works. And then once I get a clean recording, I try to fix it up and as much as I can in the EQ stage. Another problem and challenge that I have is that I don't actually have speakers. Like I don't have, studio speakers. So I mix it on headphones, which is a big no-no. But I'll get as close as I can, and then I'll just. I have
done that myself.
Yeah.
When you don't have,
there's limits,
Yeah. But that's what makes someone really good. Is the limits. They make better tunes, I believe, because they're really trying their hardest, aren't they? That's how I see it, anyway.
Well, I agree, but there's some level of, sonically, scientifically, the headphones can't reproduce certain frequencies of sound. Yeah. So when I try to mix it, there's just things that are off because I literally can't hear it.
What I do, I normally listen to a song that's been done in the studio without the headphones, and then I compare it to my one, and then try and sort of.
That's a good way to do it. I do that a lot, and one of the places I'll always do the comparison is in my car, because it's where usually I'll listen to music there in my car, and it's a little bit better. Maybe not better sound quality, but I'll hear some frequencies that I didn't hear in my headphones. And if I can, I'll just bring it to a friend's house who actually does have the actual monitor speakers, and then I'll do the final tweaks and changes there. But hopefully by that time, it's pretty damn close. I don't really need to move it like 5 to 10%.
Don't ever do mixing when you've got one blocked ear like I did.
What did you do?
I had a blocked ear. It was this side. And I couldn't really hear out of it, so I had to really guess. So
did you just like tune everything in mono?
No, stereo, but I just sort of guessed of how it would sound. I still compared it to a studio version song, and then to me, and sort of, I don't know.
So is it a medical issue that you have?
No, no, it's all clear now.
Okay, cool. So, well, you just like had a bunch of wax in your ear.
It was too much wax in my ear.
Did you do that thing with the candle and you put the cone in your ear and you light the candle on fire?
No, people say the best thing is garlic. Someone said put garlic in your ear, which I tried. I tried all the methods. Yeah, that's a method as well, isn't it? With the candle and
Yeah, I used to think that works. I'm not sure if it actually does work, but you look ccrazy when you're doing it. You just
hey,
gotta
I
tilt
was
your
so
head
tempted.
and stick like this cone in your ear and light it on fire. Everyone looks dumb when they're doing it, and especially like if you got long hair, it just looks dangerous. Or know what they would do. My mom would do. She would like stick it through a paper plate. So it would look like you had like this paper plate, and then there was the cone sticking out of it. So that I guess would protect you in case any of the embers just fell on your face.
I know I've heard some Victorian time sort of advice on how to unblock the ear. So it's like, no, I think I'll just go to the doctor and get it sorted out. So
yeah, how about
they've got. Huh? Oh, that's what really did it. Because I like to go in, have fun in that ear. Because it's nice when you can just go in and just. But you go too deep and then
You hit the eardrum.
dangerous. That
It's
is
ridiculously
dangerous.
painful.
Yes. I think someone got a sort of cotton bud or stuck in their ear, and they couldn't get it out, so they had to have an operation to get it out. And they were
That sounds bad. It sounds very bad.
Yes, but that's what they do. They shouldn't stick it in. You shouldn't even use a cotton bud.
You shouldn't use a what now?
A cotton bud, or what do you call them? Is it cotton bud?
You call it cotton bud?
Yeah,
Q-tip.
Q-tip. Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
but I think that's a brand. Maybe it should be called it's also called a cotton swab. Cotton swab. Swab, SWAB.
Yeah, I have never called it that.
Yeah, no.
Have you ever called it that?
It's a different culture, man. It's a different culture. I was wondering what other cultural differences there are.
That's it. That's it. Cotton bud.
That's it. Yeah. Really chuffed about cotton buds.
Everything else is the same.
Yeah, definitely.
Apart from the time zones.
Now, you know what's not the same is we don't really have much of this, but this is so that you guys have that spotted dick, right? We don't eat that here.
Did you like spotted dick?
I actually have never opened the can. I was really kind of immature and silly. And so when I saw it, I was happy to buy it, even though I've never actually tried it.
I have. Tastes good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sponge cake, so can't possibly be bad.
No.
Well, I mean, it could be bad. It could be. This one is many years old, so
that one will be bad. So don't eat it.
Yeah.
But you can. It's all right. Yeah. But yeah, it's they should have renamed it.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be a reason it was called that to begin with. Like, sure, maybe it was named after somebody, or I don't know.
Yeah, I can't tell you that. I could make up something, but
I would like you to make up something.
It's from Dickens, the famous author, and he wanted something a little different, and he spotted something, and he called it Spotted Dick.
Wouldn't it be something that Dick spotted?
No,
it would be different because
he was dyslexic as well.
Oh, okay, all right, gotcha.
Spotted Dick. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I want to know. Now
yes,
I want to know.
You need the answer to this riddle.
So, here's my guest. You are a hip hop artist, I believe.
Yes, I am.
And I saw you on Hit Record, and it was true love ever since the end. So, what got you into Hit Record?
My cousin actually. I mean, so I got a message on Facebook from my cousin years ago. She's like, "Hey, you should get on this. It's a good platform." And she doesn't really do anything creative, but she was just always trying to be supportive. And in Virginia, there really aren't a lot of outlets as far as like, I mean, you could be a rapper, but we're a dime a dozen. If I'm to be honest and be frank, like when I was growing up, everybody wanted to be a rapper, and everybody could be a rapper. If you could rhyme even a little bit, you could say you're a rapper. I think that the truth is that when the people stick with it, it becomes a passion and it starts to evolve and it becomes better. But even as you progress in skill, if you don't find an outlet to give that to somebody, then, and for me, it felt unfulfilling at some level, you know. So I was always looking for some sort of platform that I could express it and share it with people. And when I got to hit record after the recommendation, it found like I found my community. So I kept on making music and making just, I guess it also challenged me to do things that I didn't really do very often. Like I like to do photography, but I didn't do it very much. So I got to do that more often. I learned more about voice acting and how to frame a scene and stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that you pick up from hit record that maybe you weren't looking to learn, but you just kind of learn it because you either had to or because you're watching somebody else who did it really well.
Do you remember your first submission, your first project that you did for hit record?
I do. So the first things that I released, I think like a lot of people, are the works that I had already created, you know, because I thought maybe this is a platform to share that, to make it successful. And to some extent, yeah, you kind of would be. But the first thing I contributed to was a song called Carnival Tequila with Ashes to Ashes, which produced by Jeff Peff. And I don't know what happened to that song. I don't know really where it went, but I remember I recorded a verse for the end of that, and she liked it, which was cool. And I ended up being introduced to a few other people that way, like Campaign. And I remember I kind of like tracked Jeff down and like poked him a bunch of times, like, "Hey man, check out the song." Check out the song. He was good. He's really good about it. He was like, "Yes, I know he did."
He's got a lot of patience, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a lot of it. He's a really cool guy. But I remember that because it was like the first thing that I did that was, I guess, outside of my box, because I don't really rap about drinking tequila or going to carnivals or, you know, or I don't know. I felt like the theme of the song was in some ways misogynistic, you know, like it was like I'm like this kind of I'm wooing you through tequila.
Yeah.
And it felt weird to me, but you know, sometimes you just gotta try to write about things that you're not familiar with or you're not comfortable with to try to learn and progress. So, and I find I have to do that a lot with hit record.
And spiritually, we all got drunk.
Yes, we did. I mean, I do like tequila. I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy some tequila. I've just never really tried to write a song about it.
I think I had 8 shots once of tequila.
Yeah, do you remember that night?
I do. It's amazing. I didn't have enough. I obviously didn't have enough.
Yeah, because you said, "I think I had 8 shots." That's what makes me doubt you.
Okay, I definitely had 8 shots. 100% sure. How many shots have you had that before you went completely lala?
So I don't know, because I did go completely lala. There's only 2 times in my life I remember that I know I blacked out from drinking, and both of them include tequila. One of them started at a bar when I said a shot and a beer and keep them coming, and she did. And I got tossed out the back. I remember that.
You got tossed out?
Yeah, they tossed me out the back of that bar, man. Thankfully, my friend was with me after I tried to start a fight with a bouncer, and he was able to drive me home, which was not a smart idea for me. And then also, to add to that night, we got pulled over by the police on the way home, and thankfully we didn't get arrested or get our asses whooped. So we got home safely.
So a good night then, I believe.
Yeah.
Was that your best night, or was there another night? Because you got you said 2 times.
One.
You said 2 times.
I honestly don't remember the other one. I think it was with my cousin in Florida. He always drinks me under the table. Andy, if you are watching this, I'll get you next time.
Is he that bad? Is he?
No, he's awesome, but I can't ever compete with him.
Are you a happy drinker or a angry drinker?
I am a happy drinker and sometimes an emotional drinker. I'm like this guy right here. This is the guy.
You know what?
I love you so much.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. Okay, he's had about 8 shots. We know
that's
he's gonna do the I love you next.
That's probably around like the 5th or 6th shot. The 8th one, I'm probably done. I'm too old to be drinking 8 shots.
I cannot do that anymore. I had like 3 buds. That's terrible, and I was already feeling it.
3 buds,
Budweisers, yeah. We still call it bud, so Budweisers.
Yeah, that's the king of beers.
Yeah, it is. It's like the comfort beer where you can drink and you're not an alcoholic. Supposedly. Yeah.
That's how I feel about Guinness.
Really?
Yeah.
That's stronger.
No, it's weaker.
Well, it tastes stronger. It tastes like earth.
It's delicious, but it does taste stronger. I do agree with you.
Well, my mother would agree that Guinness is nice, so yeah. she'll be with you on that one. But me, you, no.
So what is your favorite beer if you have one?
It's gonna have to be like Budweiser's, or I'm gonna say Punch.
Punch.
Fruity drink.
Oh, okay. Like a Seagram's or something, like a.
Yeah, you know how you put a bunch of alcohol in it and then you add fruit to it, and you drink it like it's like a fruit drink, because that's how dangerous it is.
That's how I make sangria. It's kind of sneaky, because it'll be like wine, and instead of putting sugar or something like that, I'll probably put Grand Marnier or something like that to make it a little stronger and sweeter.
Is there a drink that makes you sick? Vomit. That you can't drink.
Southern Comfort.
Oh,
probably Southern Comfort. I had a bad experience with that in high school, and I don't think I could smell it again and not want to vomit.
I think my brother used to love Southern Comfort until he stopped it totally. He when he had it, it was turned into like the Incredible Hulk, but not so as in strength. He just changed, yeah.
Just wanted to smash things.
He just changed, and once he was burning the table with other people, like the alcohol on the table, and then burning it at the pubs. So burning one bit of the table, and then there was some other guy that was like amazed. Well, he was drunk as well, but he was like, "Wow!" So,
and you don't get chucked out for burning a table in a pub.
Well, it wasn't burning a whole table; it was just a little bit, because it had a bit of alcohol in it. So it was like, "Wow, that's
just singeing a table."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would get kicked out for that.
No, they weren't going to kick me out because I was in the wheelchair and they didn't have accessible toilets, so they couldn't do that.
So they had to roll you out.
You had to roll me out.
I can't imagine what it's like to get kicked out in a wheelchair. Just like, get the fuck out of here. They're probably too afraid to do that.
No,
either.
you get the big tough bouncers, and they're just like, okay, get out. And I'm like, no,
like, I'm gonna.
I'm gonna take your brakes off. And I'm like putting the brakes on, and like, no, I'm taking them off, putting them back on.
Do you ever see Unbreakable?
Yeah.
Remember towards the end where Mr. Glass was in the comic book store? He was all looking catatonic and pissed off, and the guy's like, "Look, man, I gotta wheel you out of here. I gotta get some. What is that? I gotta get some chicken in me or something." He said, and every time he would try to roll him out, he would just like spin the wheel so he would run into another counter.
Exactly. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, do that.
That's me going out anyway. I'm just like that. I'm not going anyway. You're gonna have to get me out yourself. I just feel like doing that. So where did your name come from, Poeticon? How did you come up with that name?
It's a typo, actually. When I was making my first email address, I had already had given myself the name of Poetic, because I started out writing poetry. It's my first love. Yeah, well, I would like to consider myself a poet. But
there you are. You're a poet then.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm a poet. And so
go.
when I tried to create my first email, I was trying to write poetic one, WON, like I won. But typing quickly, I left off the W and created the email address anyway. So it became Poeticon. And I was like, I don't want to change this. And simultaneously, I was like, well, it kind of sounds like Transformers, like Destructicons. So I was like, I'll keep it. So, and I kept it. It was just like, it was no big deal. It was just my email address. And then years later, when I went to hit record, I had still been referring to myself as Poetic, but I signed up as Poeticon on hit record, and I just became known as that. And I like the name better than Poetic anyway, so once again, I stuck with it.
And your children now call you Poeticon because that's what you want them to call you.
My children call me Dad, and
no, they call you Poeticon because you say, "Call me Poeticon now." That's who I am.
Yeah, they can. I think it's one of those things where it's like it's a brand that like or also like maybe like a band sort of name where I don't really expect you to call me Poeticon, but you know, it's a stage name.
Yeah, you call me Dad Poeticon.
Yeah, DaddyCon.
DaddyCon.
DaddyCon, yeah, that'll work.
Maybe that should be your next song.
Poetic Dad. No, I've tried to write songs about my family and my kids.
FatherCon.
FatherCon, that could be like a convention for dads.
Yeah.
You know, I just imagine a bunch of guys with like those kangaroo straps with like the babies hanging out of them. You ever seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Like the strap in, so the baby's just kind of like hugging you, and you just see like a head popping out and like a couple little legs this way.
Mm-hmm.
You have? Yeah. No? Okay.
I have not seen that.
Well, one day when you go to DaddyCon or FatherCon, you're gonna see a bunch of that. Well, for me, I don't think I would. I have not successfully written a song just about the family yet. I don't think. But you know, I'll put tidbits of it in there when I write about personal stuff. But when it comes to hit record, as of lately, I haven't really written anything close to me. It's always been like, oh, hey, there's this collaboration going on. You know, maybe you should check it out. And of course, I'm going to check it out because I love doing that sort of stuff. But it's not really. It's not like I'm writing about my life or anything about me. It's about like climate change or about, you know, super powered drugs and
spotted dick.
And spotted dicks.
You should call it you should have a song called Father Spotted Dick. Would that be terrible?
Oh yeah, probably. If out of context, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you tell him it's not that. No, it's something else.
Yeah.
Cut. Edit.
So what does your studio look like?
No, you're not looking at my studio right now.
I can kind of see a microphone.
This is a blue. What are they called? Blue.
A microphone.
Yeah, microphone. There you go, microphone.
Yeah. I used to use a cheaper version of that blue microphone at a previous job that I worked at where I was doing instructional design. So I would use that for like voiceovers for training videos and stuff.
Yeah, it's good for podcasts, but it's not good for anything else. I don't think you could do good vocals in this, but I'm not going to do any of that. Yeah.
What do you usually use for recording your vocals in your music?
Oh, I don't do vocals. I just do I'll just do keyboards and whatever.
But you can do some vocals if you want to. You can try.
Yeah. Look at me, spotted dick.
I think if Tinderlocks could sing on track, you should be able to as well. I think one of my favorite parts of the original mix of the Project Power song was his like, yeah, doop doop a cat, doop 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 a cat.
Yeah.
I think you just have to have an interesting voice and perhaps, for lack of a better word, courage. You know, if you're having fun and you don't really care about what it sounds like, sometimes you make some of the coolest stuff that way.
Yeah, and don't keep doing the same recordings and thinking I can do better than that, because it won't happen.
Yeah, sometimes, a lot of times I end up picking the first take.
Yeah.
But you know, it's plenty of other times where I can't get it right, because I try to push myself to do things that I'm not familiar with. Like I'm not really a great singer, but yet I keep trying to sing. And when it comes to a song that I'll literally try to sing on, I almost never get those on the first take. I have to do many takes until I find something that I feel like I've performed well. Sometimes I only get like a piece of it, and I have to come back to it another day.
Well, if you got someone to back it up, you could always do like a mono sort of standard, so you're not going too high or too low.
Yeah, I just wish I could, you know, be backup singer for myself as well. You know, I think it's just a matter of I've hit tones and I've found songs that I can sing well, but when it comes to me trying to write it, I don't know if I actually ever write it with my vocal range in mind. I just write it in as what I hear in my head, and a lot of times I can't reach those those notes that I hear in my head. So I'd probably be better off writing songs for other people than it would be from myself.
Yeah, because
But
you've got a song or two with a singer, I believe, and you're doing the sort of rapping part, and then they're doing that sort of singing on other parts. Do you wish you could just do that part as well? Like, did you try it? Have you ever tried it then?
Yeah, because for let's say, for if I wanted a singer to do a hook that I wrote, I would almost always have to give them some sort of reference as to what I want it to sound like.
Okay.
And so I have to try to hit those notes so they can hear where I'm trying to go, and they can do it better. You know what I mean? Because I want to at least acknowledge what my strengths and my weaknesses are, and I know that when it comes to singing, I'm going to eventually write something that I think I can perform well. But most of the time when I do it, I'm like, nope, give it to that person. like they'll do a way better job than me. Let him or her sing it, and I'll just be in the back like, yeah.
Yo, lyrical, mystical, poetical.
Yeah. All of that.
Exactly, yeah. But are you just self-criticizing, or is it because other people have said?
It's probably me. It's probably more me. But you know, if you look through my catalog of music, you don't hear a lot of examples of me singing. And so I think it's something I always wanted to do. Just I've never had a vocal coach, and I'm not naturally great at it. So I'll find my way into it someday. But
I reckon you should just do one and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, someone said I can't sing. You can still rap, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, I've written a lot of music that I still haven't recorded or performed. If you remember the YouTube show that I did with the puppets, I finished up the first season partly because, you know, I knew I had to have an ending for it, and it was just getting exhausting for me as one person to pull it off. But I wrote an entire new season. In fact, it could be broken into several. I wrote 27 new episodes, including music for every episode, dialogue, and I reached out to some voice actors. Some of them actually I'm really happy to say are some established voice actors that are working with Disney, but I can't afford to pay them. So until I have financing, it's like, where's it going to go? So
do you want me to take over?
I would love it. I mean, I could love you. I would love to have your voice as one of the characters. That would be pretty cool.
Am I Ariel from The Little Mermaid?
Well, so if you remember season 1, there were 2 puppets. Their names were Gin and Tonic. Season 2, I have 5 puppets lined up. And I have like storylines for all of them. And, you know, just I'd like to execute it at some point. But
I must say, I'm very impressed by your YouTube channel and your editing. I don't know how you did it, and you did it. Did you do it all on your own?
Yeah. So the cycle of one episode was pretty tough. I would film on Sundays, and at that time I had one child and a household, a dog, and a wife, to everyone to take care of and depending on me. So I would have to do it after work, in between caring for them. So a lot of times it was like somewhere between 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. when I was working on the show. So, but on Sundays though, I would have the morning and the afternoon to try to film the scenes that I needed to have done. And I would film all those. So let's say we're in the middle of the season, right? Let's say I'm filming at episode 7, right? I filmed episode 7, but at the same time, I need to start editing episode 7, so it's ready for delivery on Friday. But episode 8 needs to come up, so I also need to write a script for episode 8. So as soon as Sunday was over, I would immediately get to work on writing the script for the next week's episode and editing the film for the upcoming episode. But I still had to record music. I still had to do voiceovers. I still had to do, it was just a lot of shit that came into play. So the fact that I was able to put an episode out every week, I think I was impressed with myself, because it was just really hard work, but I couldn't keep up that pace, because to film, to edit, to script, and sometimes I didn't even have talent lined up for the next episode. Like as far as a guest appearance, I had to get, if there was a voice character that needed to be played, or I needed help with puppeteering, it was almost always just me by myself, or maybe I had one other person, which is why if you look through season 1, there's not a lot of shots with me with the puppets. Like you would see, it was either me on screen or them on screen. And only like in 1 or 2 episodes did you see me on the same screen with the puppets, is because I didn't have any help as far as puppeteering. It was me.
Could you have done it do that and then voiceover afterwards?
Yeah. When I started getting to a good rhythm of it, I would record several takes of all of the lines for the puppets. Like I'd have the voice actor come in. His name is Alex. He also helped me with puppeteering. And he would read all the lines, I would record them, and then I'd find the takes that I'd like, and then I would play those out loud, and I would move the puppet to the voice. So the puppet was actually just kind of mimicking what was already recorded. Okay. That was just the most time-effective way to do it. If I had like a monitor and I had time to have a voice actor come in and watch the scene and time it to the lips of the character, I would do that. But I didn't have that sort of time. So a lot of times I would just do the same take with a puppet, blah, 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 do it again, blah, 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 and find some different ways to articulate it, blah, blah, blah. And then I would just mash the two up to try to make as much sense as I could.
So you did the voiceovers for quite a few of the episodes, yeah? Wow. And you did the music, you did the editing and everything else.
The energy we use could harness the solar power, the wind and the water matter. Hydro production of fruit and veg for consumption, increasing no-fit zones to 1/3 of the oceans. Sustainable living is giving back what we're taking, replacing the trees. Let the seeds reawaken. It's time to give back what human hands have impacted. I believe we can make it. This is how we save the planet.